Got something to say, Tinos? Got something to tell the audience? Look at that chin. It's all about that chin right there. He's got the chin. Chinny chin chin. Alright. Here we go again. I know I sigh a lot, but it's just how I feel lately. That's the last time I had a bunch of hair on my sweatshirt. Whatever this thing is I'm wearing. Okay, so believe it or not, I had another dream. This is day 2. And again, I'm not saying this is that I'm some oracle or something like that. You know, like hang on my every word, act accordingly, or whatever. But I just thought I'd share because I thought it was interesting. So, and if I ever see some of these things happening on the news or wherever in real life, then I'll be pretty freaked out. But thankfully, for anybody watching who saw the last one, the stream was a lot shorter. You'll be happy to hear that. So I'll just dive right into it. I don't know who we are, because all the people in the dream, I didn't know who these people were. In fact, I can't even put faces on them right now. I know there's one male figure, and it seems like he's pretty well dressed, but I don't know. It was at some kind of like a convention center, we're on the bottom floor, and all the walls were glass, so some large glass, what I assumed was kind of a skyrise building or something like that. Although, like I said, there's very few details that came back to me. I was straining. I woke up again with this. That's why I keep yanking on my neck, is because I woke up with this neck-related splitting headache this morning. And I was sitting there racking my brain, trying to remember more details, but yeah, I couldn't. Earlier on in the dream, I knew something else happened. It's just not coming to me, so whatever. And I realize the lighting is pretty poor right now. This camera is always struggling. It's really poor lighting right here. Sit at an angle or something. Okay, whatever. Anyway, yeah, I got Tinos with me. Being a good boy for now. As long as I pay him attention now and then. Give him a little petting. So we were in this building, and it was in a large metropolitan, large city. And it was later on in the dream I would find out, it was like a Bay Area. I don't think it was a coastal city. It was more like the closest place I've been to the city in the dream was Chicago, because it has, it's on the edge of a big lake. And yeah, that'll come in later. But so it was a large city. And I don't recall seeing much traffic. when all this was happening. This being, so at one point, like I said, I can't remember what was going on, why were you in that building. Some event, right? Drew us all there. Anyway, all of a sudden, I start to see and hear choppers, helicopters, kind of military grade, I think, like the long, pointy ones, whatever the name is. And flying all over the city. And, I'm looking, actually this time I did have a camera with me. I was capturing some of it. And, I just catch glimpses as they swoop past really low and really loud. I mean, you can imagine like a helicopter coming between two buildings in a city, how loud that is. Rattling. So these choppers are flying around, and you see the silhouettes come by really low. And at one point, I see one drop something way high up, because it gave me enough time to, and for some reason I had a really close-up lens, so I was sitting there trying to track it, as hard as that is, real close-up, trying to get as much detail as possible. In fact, I can even remember, like this camera, straining to stay in focus as I was panning through the sky. It was coming in really fast, whatever was dropped, and I remember it was only, I followed it all the way down, and it landed literally just a few blocks away, and I actually felt the thud in my feet when it hit the earth. And then there was like a visible cloud of smoke, and before that, I recognized that they were like what do they call them? Drop boxes or cargo crates, right? Like they were supplying someone in the city, and it seemed to me like it wasn't a civilian drop, like it wasn't for us. I don't know, occupying army. It was more like a martial law feel, like I don't know, maybe it's for the National Guard or something like that. This comes after watching the news and the security theater of the DC basic martial law right now, Washington DC, with the National Guard marching out for some reason, even though everybody had already left. So that's fresh in my mind. I try to keep these things in mind. I know that our minds obviously have a big influence on our dreams, and so yeah, how much of it's just entirely subconscious, is there a message? I don't know. I just think it's interesting because I'm kind of a prophecy, apocalypse sleuth, if you haven't noticed. And so when I see things, or actually remember things like this in a dream, it's relevant in any case to me, which kind of makes me think of, well, let's get back to the dream. We're a hard time focusing sometimes. I'll get back to that other thought, hopefully, if I remember. So yeah, when all this was happening, there wasn't too many people around me in the building. Like, I was in this other room that was kind of dark. I don't think it even had any lights on, because I could see everything going on outside, and it was at night. That was a little bit of the context that was left out. Just call it out. So there was several drops, and they were just like kind of throughout the city. There was another one, like if I was to look to my 12 o'clock, and there was another one to my 4 o'clock maybe. And this camera's about to die, so hopefully I get this out. So there's a couple people that wanted to go see, like I did, what was in them. And so that's where the bay thing comes in. They were like, I don't know if they were going to get a car or somebody else, but they were like, hey, you can meet us over there, by the edge of the lake or the bay, whatever it was. You can walk and we'll meet back up with you in the car. I think they were taking a car. Like I said, I didn't see much traffic at the time. And so there's this big, not only just to catch on film, but we are also kind of curious, like what are in these big crates that they just dropped in several points throughout the city. And I remember one time, like, I was recording with some kind of a microphone or something in my hand, and I had keys in my hand, and I kept making noise with those keys, and I was thinking that's not going to sound good on the audio. That's a typical audio vlogger guy experience. But and then at one time I was in the car, sitting in the car, trying to figure out where to go next, what we're doing. And that's all I really remember. Like these helicopters swarming around. A big city at night, dropping supply crates that would leave little, colored smoke clouds to indicate where they're at. And like I was saying, I don't remember much else besides that. I faintly remember something else was going on in the sky with planes or whatever that I was trying to film. That's it, unfortunately. That's all I got. So it was short. I guess that's kind of good. But so yeah, like I said, this recent study into this podcast that I might call synchronicity. I might consider that, or at least that's part of the theme, about how our minds, each of us individually, our minds gather meaning kind of unique to us. It's kind of in part based upon this little rabbit hole that I followed. That word popped in my mind, synchronicity, and then I started, like I do, Google searching, and came across some of Carl Jung's writings and his theories. And some of his stuff you got to take with a grain of sand or a grain of salt or whatever, because he gets a bit mystical, but some of it made sense. And I hope to explore that more in the next podcast if I can get enough time to get it together, because they're very time consuming. Yeah, if anybody else had a similar dream, I'd be interested in hearing it, in the comments section, or find me on Facebook, and I'd be interested in hearing if anybody else has kind of a synchronistic dream as mine, because I know a friend of ours did recently with that last dream. They had that same idea of a dark cloud, but in their dream is more out of Revelations. It was like a cloud of locusts. And okay, camera died, so that's what that was. Anyway, I wanted to wrap this up. A friend of ours had a somewhat similar dream as my last dream, and to her it was kind of like an end times scenario. Obviously, lots of visions out of the book of Revelation, and at one point there was like a cloud of locusts that descended on the world, and she made it a point of trying to run around house to house and tell people, and one family was gathered around the television, just, enjoying themselves like nothing else was happening. So that was interesting. So yeah, synchronicities. Anybody else has similar experiences, similar dreams, similar ideas? similar things that they've learned from the Bible. That'd be fun to explore, I think. So, there's a lot of traffic out here today. How did I want to wrap this up? One thing that just stuck in my mind was the need in my mind to try our best to get out of the major population centers like the large cities, because as we saw in DC yesterday afternoon, just how easy it is to get stuck in those cities if even some of the most minor things, relatively speaking, occurs in that city. What, all DC's on curfew? For how long? Till Trump's out of office, maybe? Yeah, so don't, if you can at all, some people can't, and also kind of reminds me of a idea I have for another short series of just how, like, on a limited budget, limited means, for those of us who might not be capable of just running out and grabbing land or building a house or whatever out in the country or up in the hills somewhere where I'm at, like right now. Like where I'm at right now. Yeah, just how to basically practical how to prepare, basic bug out tips, I guess. And it'll be a real life story because it's what I kind of plan on doing anyway. It's just kind of getting our things in order around here. The more things happen, the more seriously it appears that we have to take things, and we got to act out like Noah, right? Like he had his ark prepared before the flood. And the church in the end time is a type of Noah's Ark. I mean, we should be in the ark of Christ, of course. At the same time, we should be somewhat prepared for what's coming. If we do believe what we believe, take it seriously, then, we want to do everything within our power to prepare. Not that you completely just rely on your own works or what you do or your possessions, because a lot of that will be taken away, and a lot of that I think it'll get to a point where we'll have to just abandon it. We'll have to leave everything, head for the hills. If it gets as ugly as it says it's going to get, and I think it probably will. So we have to be, our properties, our whatever, bug out location, like we've got a little gypsy wagon, our house on wheels. Those are to afford us kind of a window of time. But, we can't hold on to them forever, It'll be, if we believe in the prophecies as they're written, there will be a time when there's nothing else that we have on which to stand other than our faith. Everything in this world would be stripped away from us if we are to stay true to God and be one of those few who don't receive the mark and don't bow down to a false system. Anyway, getting all prophetic again, that dream just kind of, it was interesting, yeah. So, at night in a large city, next to a body of water, coastal, whatever. Closest thing I could liken it to is like Chicago when I was there. Several times I've been in Chicago. One time I took a bus for a Van Gogh exhibit. That was when I was younger at the art museum there, which is a really cool art museum if you've never been there. Of course, now I don't even know if you can walk through it, but they have a lot of like classic, iconic, I guess, works of art. Yeah, all by myself. I took a bus and they dropped me off like in the downtown area, you know, like just drop you off there. You gotta find your way to the hotel, and that was interesting. A little nervous, you know. Country boy dropping off in a big, dirty, dingy, whatever, how much crime there is there, but yeah, you have to walk to your hotel. But I've had some of those fun experiences. Mostly when I was younger, you know, like, that's what you do, right? Get out of your system, kind of. Anyway, so yeah, that's what was happening. Helicopters were dropping supply drops all over town. Several within eyeshot, and then they all went away. Because I remember I was waiting to record some more, and they didn't come back. So, what that was all about, I have no idea. Let me know what you think. Right? And I don't know if this is going to keep up. If so, I'm just going to keep recording it. You know, I have to start a new series, but in any case, like I said, it gets the mind going, and made me think of that podcast that I got to finish. Synchronicity is, you know, kind of the theme. King Solomon, nothing new under the sun. What has been done will be done. It's kind of like how history rhymes or repeats with what's going on right now, and it's really relevant with what's going on in DC. I think sometimes they follow the script. You know, they learn from the past, these high priests of statecraft, and they try to reproduce on the world stage the narrative or the psychological effect of what was learned from, you know, past attempts at power grabs, stuff like that. Just think Nazi Germany. Plays a big part in that podcast. Anyway, thanks everybody for the support. Appreciate all my viewers. You are the best, I'm telling you. Like, yeah, it's fun. At least I have, you know, somebody to share some ideas with. Because I'm up here in the mountains, you know, I'm kind of a hermit. And this is usually, like I said, where I do most of my communication outside the family, I guess. And that's the phone. Okay. Thanks everybody for watching. See you later.
Aber aus diesen Trümmern wird sich siegreich erheben der Phönix eines neuen Geistes.